Martha. He's Director of Communications for President Trump's re-election campaign. He's live on the scene. As you can see, Marc Thiessen, American Enterprise Institute scholar, a Fox News contributor, and Ed Rendell, the former governor of Pennsylvania, former DNC chair. Welcome all.
Good to be with you, Ed.
Ed, I want to start with you and give you a fair crack at what Alan Lichtman was just saying. The man who says he's predicted 9 of the last 9 presidential elections says your party is in worse shape than people think.
Well, I think we're not in as good shape as we think we are, but for different reasons than the professor. First of all, Donald Trump 2020 is going to have 2 advantages that Donald Trump 2016 didn't have. One, he's going to have far more money than us. He's already bankrolled a tremendous war chest, and he's going to maintain that lead all the way through. Hillary Clinton had far more money than Donald Trump did in 2016. And number 2, he's president presiding over a good economy. And although that hasn't shown up in the polls yet, that's still a factor as people go vote. So I think he's stronger than we think. The polls can be wrong. For example, Donald Trump's internal poll showed he's trailing in Pennsylvania 55 to 39. There's no way he's going to lose Pennsylvania by 16 points.
Right. He's made that point.
He has a real good chance of losing Pennsylvania, but not by 16 points.
Okay.
So we Democrats, at our peril, underestimate candidate Trump.
Tim, I want to go to you there live on the scene in Orlando. As you just heard from a Democrat, and Ed Rendell, you do have a strong economy. On the other hand, it was J.P. Morgan this week saying they now have upped it to a 45% chance of a recession next year in an election year. Are you perhaps guilty that you have the potential of being guilty of irrational exuberance on the economy?
We would actually be very happy if the Democrats continue to underestimate Donald Trump's strength as for his re-election goes. The economy is strong. It's one of the strong suits in the case for his re-election. And as we saw jobs keep being added every month to the American economy, we think, in fact, that's the strongest part of our re-election case, is that the strong economy, the Trump tax cuts are fueling that, and we're happy if the Democrats underestimate us. It's what happened in 2015 and 2016.
Sure.
And if that happens again and all the polls are wrong, that's fine.
Well, Tim, we can hear from the music and the crowd behind you, there certainly is some exuberance, whether it's rational or irrational. I want to bring in Marc Thiessen, and I want to do this by playing a shot from the Democratic frontrunner, a soundbite where Joe Biden seems to think he can reshape the entire electoral map. Watch.
If I'm your nominee, winning Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, believe it or not, and I believe we can win Texas and Florida if you look at the polling data now. I have no intention of walking away if I'm the nominee.
Marc, it sounds like he thinks he might get all 50 states, and I remember Hillary Clinton in 2016 going to Arizona in the final days, not winning there and failing to go to Wisconsin. Are they going to suffer the same mistake?
They very well could. I mean, first of all, he's got to win the nomination, which is not locked up yet, so he's a little bit premature in talking about how he's going to beat Donald Trump. But look, at this very time, so we're like now at the 5-year anniversary of the walk down the escalator. At this time, in June of 2015, Donald Trump was trailing Hillary Clinton by 25 points, and he actually did not catch up to her at all for another year until July of 2016, and he only passed her by 2 points and then went down again and she held the lead until Election Day.
Right.
So the idea that these polls are somehow dispositive of the president's strength relative to whatever the Democratic nominee is just simply ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Barack Obama, by the way, only had 46% approval at this time in his presidency before the 2012 election.
I want to get around the horn one more time. Ed, real quick, your state of Pennsylvania. Axios had a focus group recently where basically they had, I believe, 8 Obama voters who flipped to Donald Trump in 2016, and all 8 said that while they had some concerns, they were sticking with Donald Trump for now. How do you flip those Obama voters who went Trump and make them Biden or another Democrat?
Well, you've got to talk issues to them. You've got to talk about the promises that Donald Trump made and his failure to deliver on almost all those promises. And, for example, the tax cut. The tax cut has turned out to be extraordinarily unpopular because it gave all the money to the top 1%. So if you point out facts, what Donald Trump has done and what he's failed to do for the people he promised he would help, I think that changes minds.
Tim, last point from you. Ed Rendell is trying to make the case that the tax cut hasn't helped middle-class families. You say?
90% of Americans have seen their paychecks get larger as a result of those tax cuts, so that's just a fallacy. One thing I would also say about Joe Biden making claims to, say, win Texas, we don't know for sure that Joe Biden's going to be our opponent. In fact, he could well be sitting home in his own living room during the general election next year, so I think he's probably getting a little bit ahead of himself.
Mark Thiessen, the president tried to call that big group of Democrats a motley crew. What say you?
Well, you know, it's we'll see how it shakes out. But I think Ed is a little bit wrong about winning back those voters, because if you think about this, Joe Biden is probably the worst person to win back those Obama-Biden voters, because those voters are doing better under Donald Trump than they did under Obama-Biden. Under Obama-Biden, they lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. Trump has brought back 500,000 of those manufacturing jobs.
Ed, last point.
And
Mark,
also, let me finish, Ed. And also, those voters voted for Donald Trump because they were upset with the political establishments of both parties. They were anti-establishment, and Joe Biden has been a part of the establishment for 46 years. He's a swamp creature.
The last point is, you can't deny the tax cut is vastly unpopular with Americans.
Okay. Ed, Tim, Mark, this is the beginning of the case for everyone to make. We got a lot more politics to be played out.
17 months.
Thanks for coming in. All right. The president arriving in Orlando, outfitted